Okay, let's dive in. Picture this. Thiruvananthapuram, Kerala, September 2025. It's Onam. The air is just electric. You've got these amazing rhythmic drums, the chendamalam,
Absolutely hypnotic.
and the streets, they're literally carpets of flowers, these incredible pookalams, intricate designs everywhere. Families are out, all dressed up in traditional white mundis, shimmering saris.
It's a beautiful sight. Real sense of community.
Totally. Laughter everywhere, and the food. Oh my goodness, the sadhya. Plates just piled high with, what, like 24 different dishes?
At least. It's a feast in every sense of the word, a legendary spread.
And it's huge. We're talking over 500,000 people flooding into the city. You've got snake boat races cutting through the water, cultural shows at Kanakakunu Palace.
Yeah, the energy is palpable. You can almost feel the spirit of King Mahabali, the sort of benevolent king the festival honors. It's this massive, vibrant cultural moment.
It really is. But then comes September 14th, the day after the big finale, and the picture, well, it changes quite dramatically.
It does. That beautiful scene starts to fade, and honestly, something pretty stark takes its place.
Yeah, all that vibrancy, that joy, it gives way to, well, a mess. You look down, and the ground is just telling a completely different story.
Right. Plastic cups blowing around, food wrappers stuck to things, those banana leaves that held the sagya just hours before are now just soggy litter.
It's jarring, isn't it? Like the aftermath of a party that got way out of hand. And the thing is, there were plans to avoid this, ambitious ones.
There were, which makes the reality even more striking.
Exactly. So that's what we want to unpack today, this paradox. A festival steeped in beauty and tradition running headfirst into this massive waste problem, even with efforts to stop it. What does it tell us about, people, culture, responsibility?
It's a fascinating question. And that transformation you mentioned, from celebration to, well, debris, it happened fast. And the numbers, they really paint a picture.
Hit me with the numbers.
Okay, so officials from the Thiruvananthapuram Corporation, they reported 11 tons of waste just on that final day.
11 tons? Wow, what does that even look like?
Imagine a small swimming pool filled with garbage. That's roughly the scale. It took 22 truckloads to clear it all.
22? Good grief.
And sanitation crews were working flat out until 4 a.m. the next morning just to get the city back to some semblance of normal.
That's incredible dedication. But here's the kicker, right? They had bins.
They did. Lots of them, placed strategically, supposedly every 25 meters along the main routes and near the venues.
So you couldn't really miss them, but they were.
Half empty. Many of them stood there almost like mocking the effort. The trash was often just a few steps away on the ground.
So what does that tell you immediately? Is it just people not noticing or something deeper?
Well, it points to a real disconnect, I think. Not necessarily a lack of awareness that littering is bad, but a gap between knowing and doing. The infrastructure was there, but people just didn't use it consistently.
Which brings us to the big push they made beforehand. Right. The Green Onam initiative.
Exactly. The state saw this potential problem coming. The local self-government department, the LSGD, launched this statewide campaign back in late July 2025.
And I love the angle they took, tying it back to King Mahabali himself.
Yeah, framing him as the king of cleanliness.
Yeah.
It's clever, using the festival's own mythology to deliver an environmental message. Very culturally resonant.
So what did they actually do as part of Green Onam?
Oh, it was pretty comprehensive. They had door-to-door awareness drives, teams going out telling families, ditch the single-use plastics, sort your waste, bring your own reusable bags.
So trying to get buy-in at the household level.
Right. And in public spaces, bins galore, like we said. Plus, vendors setting up stalls, they had to actually pledge to follow zero-waste practices to even get their permits.
Wow. Okay, so pressure on businesses, too.
Definitely. It felt like a real top-to-bottom effort. They were trying to cover all the bases.
And this wasn't just about Onam, was it? There was a bigger picture here.
Absolutely. Kerala was on the cusp of a major policy change. A statewide ban on single-use plastics was scheduled to kick in just a few weeks later, on October 2nd.
Ah, okay. So Green Onam was kind of a test run. Or maybe a primer.
Kind of both, I think.
Yeah.
It was meant to prepare people, build those habits before the official ban hit. It showed the state was thinking ahead, trying to ease the transition.
But despite all that planning, the good intentions, it clearly didn't quite land the way they hoped.
No. It faced real resistance on the ground. Let's go back to Kanakakunu Palace, the absolute epicenter of the celebrations.
Right, where they had those 60 special color-coded bins for segregation.
Those very bins. The report said they were barely 30% full. 30%. Meanwhile, the grounds around them were just littered. carpeted with trash.
That image is so stark, it perfectly captures the problem.
It really does. And you hear the sheer frustration from the people dealing with it.
Yeah.
One sanitation supervisor apparently said it was like herding cats.
Herding cats. Yeah, I can imagine.
He said people would walk right past an empty bin and toss their trash 2 steps away. We've got the tools, but the habit. That's the real hurdle.
That is hard. We've got the tools, but the habit. That really connects to what Dr. S. Minnie from Kerala University talked about, doesn't it?
Precisely. Dr. Minnie made the point that, high education levels don't automatically equal eco-friendly actions, especially in big crowds.
The someone else will clean it thing?
Exactly that.
Yeah.
The someone else will clean it mentality kicks in. She called it diffusion of responsibility.
And that's particularly interesting for Kerala, right? Because they have such a high literacy rate, like 94%.
It makes it really poignant. It suggests that even in a highly educated population, in the energy and anonymity of a massive festival, individual responsibility can just evaporate.
It's easy to think my little rapper won't make a difference when 500,000 other people are around.
And even the officials basically admitted this afterwards. They said convenience lost out to habit.
Convenience won. Ouch.
Yeah. And they stressed that changing these deep-seated habits isn't quick. They estimate like a 4 to 5 year push is needed. You can't just put up bins and signs.
You need stories, not just signs. I think that was the quote.
But that was it. It points to needing a deeper, more narrative-driven approach to really shift mindsets. It's a long game.
So this Onam situation, it's not just a blip, is it? It kind of reflects a wider issue in Kerala.
It really does. It shines a light on this paradox. Kerala is known as God's own country, scores well in national cleanliness surveys, like Swachh Sarvekshan.
Right, often near the top.
Yet the underlying waste generation is significant. We're talking about 35 million people producing around 11,500 tons of solid waste every single day.
11,500 tons daily. That's a mountain of waste.
It is. And Thiruvananthapuram alone contributes about 450 tons of that daily total.
Okay, so there's a baseline challenge. And then festivals like Onam just pour fuel on the fire.
Exactly. They cause a massive spike. Waste can jump by 30, sometimes even 50% during these peak celebration times.
And this isn't the first time, presumably.
No. They saw something similar in Kochi during Onam 2024. A 40% jump in waste that really strained their local systems. It's a recurring pattern.
And the main culprit within that waste stream? Still plastic?
Yep. Plastic makes up about 12% of the total waste, which again underlines why that upcoming ban was and is so crucial.
Beyond the environmental costs, there's a real financial burden too, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely. The state spends around 50 crore, that's 500 million rupees every year, just on cleanup. Money that could obviously go elsewhere.
And that specific 11-ton cleanup in Thiruvananthapuram after Onam.
That alone required 500 worker hours of overtime. Think about that, 500 hours just to clean up after one day's festivities in one city. It's a hidden tax on resources.
It really puts it in perspective. But look, it wasn't all bleak, right? There were positive stories, people pushing back against the tide of trash.
Definitely. Amidst the challenges, you absolutely find these unsung heroes and real glimmers of green hope. Like Lakshmi.
Tell me about Lakshmi.
She's 42, works with an organization called Green Worms Waste Management. She described arriving at Kanakakunu Palace after the finale and being knee-deep in peels and packets.
Wow, knee-deep.
But her team didn't just sigh, they got to work. They processed 500 kilograms of recyclables just from that one site. They turned the banana leaves into compost, shredded plastics for upcycling, actually turning waste into something useful.
That's fantastic, making a tangible difference right there.
And Greenworms was smart about messaging, too. They had these Mavelli message posters.
Ah, bringing back the king of cleanliness.
Exactly. Pictures of King Mahabali sorting trash with funny captions like, reuse, reduce, share like my kingdom once did, making it relatable and memorable.
That's brilliant, using humor and folklore.
Yeah, and you saw creativity elsewhere, too. In Thrissur, the pookalams dancers, the ones painted like tigers.
Oh yeah, the tiger dance. Amazing spectacle.
Well, some troops started weaving anti-litter skits into their performances. Imagine these vibrant tigers miming picking up trash. It grabs attention in a way a simple sign never could.
That's using culture to change culture. Love it. And it wasn't just organized groups, right? Individuals stepped up too.
For sure. Like Raju, a 28-year-old snake boat oarsman on the Kolata River. His team had just competed, a big deal. But the day after, he was out there in his boat fishing plastic bottles out of the river.
Just doing it himself.
Yeah. He said something like, water's our lifeline, but Onam turns it murky. His crew even started a clean paddle pledge after the races, and they collected 200 kilos of debris themselves.
That's real grassroots commitment. Taking ownership.
It is, and you have to mention the Haritha Sena, Kerala's Green Army.
Right, the all-women force. How big are they now?
Around 15,000 strong across the state. They're focused on waste management, creating jobs for women, empowering them. During Onam 2025, they ran something like 500 awareness stalls, handed out 50,000 eco-friendly bags.
That's a massive outreach effort.
Huge! And you hear stories like Priya's, a Senate member from Column. She said, "I once saw waste as burden. Now it's opportunity. Compost from Sidya feeds my home garden full circle."
Full circle, that's powerful. Seeing waste not just as a problem, but as a resource.
That's the shift in perspective they're fostering. And it's leading to real results in some places.
Like where? What successes are we seeing?
Well, in Alappuzha, famous for its backwaters and houseboats, the houseboat operators started switching to steel utensils, part of new green protocols. And they've apparently cut their waste generation by about 40%.
40%. Just by switching utensils, that's significant.
It really is. And in Ernakulam, they piloted a zero-waste Onam project back in 2024. They set up community composting pits and managed to compost 20 tons of organic waste from the feasts.
20 tons turned into compost instead of landfill. That's a win.
Absolutely. These local successes show it can be done. They offer practical models that could potentially be scaled up across Kerala.
Are other places with similar large festivals doing things Kerala could learn from?
Yeah, definitely. You look at Tamil Nadu's Pongal festival, similar scale, lots of people. They managed to cut waste by around 30% through temple-led segregation drives, getting religious centers involved.
Interesting approach.
Or Mumbai's Ganesh Chaturthi. The immersion of idols used to be a huge pollution issue. Now, most idols are made from materials that dissolve easily, or people use symbolic immersions. It's dramatically reduced the impact on water bodies, maybe by 90% for the statues themselves.
Wow, 90% reduction. That shows major change is possible.
It does. It often involves a mix of community buy-in, technological innovation, and sometimes regulation. Kerala could maybe adapt the things like, biodegradable dyes for pookalams, or using drones for more than just surveillance, maybe dropping reminders about bins in your crowds.
Okay, so looking forward, what's the roadmap for a greener Onam? Beyond just hoping habits change.
Well, they're definitely thinking about learning from global examples, too. Singapore, for instance, uses gamified apps for litter control. Scan a bin when you use it, earn points, maybe win a small prize. Makes it interactive.
Gamifying cleanup. Clever.
And Japan's approach during Hanami, the cherry blossom viewing picnics, it's deeply ingrained. My trash, my responsibility. People meticulously pack out everything they bring in. High social pressure and habit.
So how might Kerala translate these ideas? What are the concrete plans?
Well, more bins is definitely on the list. They're apparently targeting a spacing of every 100 meters for Onam 2026, tighter than before. And the idea of volunteer bin buddies at venues.
Like guides to help people use the right bins?
Sort of, yeah. Friendly faces encouraging proper disposal. Critically, there's a push to get this into schools. Embed green Mahabali stories into the curriculum. Start building that sense of responsibility from a young age.
Make it part of the culture early on.
Exactly. And exploring corporate partnerships for reusable sagi kits, tackling the plate and utensil waste at the source.
What about enforcement? Because encouragement only goes so far sometimes.
True. There's talk of stricter measures. Things like mandatory waste audits for large events. Mahabali mandates, they're calling them.
Mahabali mandates.
Catchy. And dedicated waste squads, maybe working with police, to actually issue fines or warnings to people caught littering blatantly. Even using drone surveillance, not just for crowd control, but to spot illegal dumping hotspots.
So a carrot and stick approach, basically.
Pretty much. Combining awareness, infrastructure, incentives, and consequences. And, there are signs, albeit small ones, that things might be slowly shifting.
Oh, yeah. What signs?
Those post-Onam audits in 2025. They found that in the later hours of the celebration at Kanakakunu, usage of the bins actually went up. Around 70% were being used correctly towards the end.
Huh. So maybe as the initial excitement wore off or as people saw others using them, awareness kicked in later?
Possibly. Or maybe the cleanup efforts becoming visible had an effect. It suggests awareness isn't zero, it just needs constant reinforcement. When ministers show up for cleanup drives, when patrols are visible, the message gets stronger. This matters.
Okay, so wrapping this up, we've journeyed through the incredible beauty and scale of Onam 2025. The drums, the flowers, the food.
The sheer joy of it.
but also confronted that stark image of the aftermath. The tons of waste, the half-empty bins, despite the state's big green Onam push.
Yeah, the gap between intention and action, the challenge of changing habits, even in a highly literate society.
The core tension is right there, isn't it? How do you honor this amazing cultural tradition without drowning in the environmental cost of the celebration?
It's the central question. And that quote from the health official really sticks with me.
The sadhya analogy.
Yeah. Behavioral change isn't a sprint. It's a sadhya savored slowly, shared widely. You can't rush it. It takes time, collective effort, making it part of the shared experience, like enjoying that multi-course feast together.
That's a perfect way to put it. So, as those beautiful pookalams fade back into the earth, Onam 2025 leaves us thinking, doesn't it?
It really does.
Are we going to keep littering the legacy of King Mahabali's mythical kingdom of prosperity and cleanliness? Or can we, collectively, figure out how to celebrate with joy and leave the place pristine, truly honoring that spirit?
The choice, as you said earlier, like that well-laid sadhya, it's ours to savor, or unfortunately to spoil.